Established in 1922, Durban Country Club has a proud history that spans over 100 years and is a popular club amongst both golf enthusiasts and Durban residents alike. The club has always offered world-class sporting and leisure facilities, as well as a beautiful setting overlooking the Indian Ocean.
I wanted us to stand here on the second because this is arguably the best view in Durban, and it's arguably one of the greatest views of any golf course, any coastal golf course in the world. And I know there are some great golf courses built on amazing properties all over the world on the coast. But you know, here we are. Behind me is the city of Durban, the famous bluff, which is the Durban harbour mouth. Up here to the west is Morningside. Behind me is the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Just over this bush, which you can't see from here, is Kings Park, where the famous Sharks play. And then north of us here, literally you see all the way up to Umhlanga Rocks. I mean, it's extraordinary.
Sadly, the old course has had a torrid time of late, with Mother Nature testing it to its limits, but it has survived, and out of all the destruction will come one of the great courses of the world once again.
This land really is a floodplain. Most of the club is below the golf course is below sea level, and the land was given by the city of Durban to the members to build a golf course here, not because it was fabulous land, but because it was almost unusable land. The history of Durban is that the Umgani River, which has a mouth just north of us, used to flow to the sea this way through where the course is and come out of the harbour many years ago. So this was land that was never really meant for anything at all, actually. So in 2022, the flood was absolutely devastating, where most of the course was underwater, and it stayed that way for 6 weeks. We lost greens, we lost fairways, we lost tee boxes, we lost bunkers. The whole irrigation system was completely wiped out, and the course was ruined.
Armed with the hope of restoring the old lady to her former glory, Nick Johnson oversaw upgrades to the greens, bunkers and tees, which began in early 2023, as well as fortification of the drainage system surrounding the course.
To get it back to its former glory was one thing, but actually we had to deal with the flood problem. And so the primary focus at that time was, what do we do to make sure this doesn't happen again? So we had to rebuild the course, knowing that we would be flooded again. And of course, added to that, we also had the added pressure, well, I'd put on myself, the pressure of bringing this course back to being one of the top 100 golf courses in the world. And I'm on a mission to get us back there. The first 5 holes have always been regarded as amongst the best 5 opening holes in world golf. Anyone who's an expert on golf courses or who's well-traveled around golf courses will tell you that. And then, of course, our famous 12th hole, which is the Prince of Wales hole, is also very famous. And then, of course, the last 2 holes, the 17th and 18th, are equally famous. But that is only 8 holes. And there were 10 pretty boring holes at the back of the course, which needed a lot of attention. And of course, it's an old-fashioned course. The greens had never been built from the ground up. They were literally, pieces of soil that had been planted with grass that could be mowed into a green. The bunkers were also completely old-fashioned. There was no drainage. So we literally had to demolish all 18 greens, and we demolished all our bunkers. So we have now built 20 new greens, 18 on the course and 2 practice greens, and we've built 43 brand new bunkers, all to USGA spec with amazing drainage, and that was just the beginning. This is the fantastic 3rd hole, which is world-renowned as one of the great par 5s in the world, and we suddenly got flooding on this hole, which was devastating to us. The water shouldn't have been here. Literally, almost as far as you could see here was underwater. And then in December this year, over Christmas, we had terrible rains again in Durban. And the places that normally flood a lot were fantastic. Our new drainage had worked really well. And in certain low areas like this, it hadn't worked that well. So we had to come back in January and put a whole lot more drainage in. So there are a few places like this, but we'll go to the areas where the flooding has always been bad, and you'll see how we've handled that a bit differently to this. The design here was to move the soil and build a burn that runs all the way, it winds its way across 6 or 7 holes, and the fairways have been shaped so that the water now runs into the burn and collects the flood water. And you'll be surprised to know, though, that the water we see here, which is substantial, is all groundwater. As we dug, the water appeared because most of this is below sea level. And it's created an amazing system of drainage for us. But on top of that, we've now redesigned all these holes to be absolutely fantastic and rather tough, actually. On top of that, we had a lot of congestion in this corner of the course because the 6th hole came in here, the 7th tee was here, and then the 13th was squeezed in between 7 and 11 and then 10, and then on the other side is the 14th tee box, and they were really close together. And we had to separate them all. So there's a lot of separation that's taken place, and the holes have been spread out a bit. And this water winds its way in front of the 13th green, through the 13th fairway, across the 11th fairway. It's become really tough in front of 10 now. The water is quite wide in front of 10 in places. And then it winds its way onto the 14th, and up the 14th, across the 14th in front of the green, and across the 10th fairway in front of the tee box, and across the 9th fairway also, exactly where the pros used to drive it. So we've used the water and the drainage to make the course much more interesting and to make it a bit restrictive for the big hitters.
DCC has played host to the South African Open Championship on 17 different occasions, and the Grand Old Lady was the venue for the centenary SA Open in 2010, which saw the legendary Ernie Els win his 5th national title.
We need Durban to thrive, and potentially this is a catalyst. If we can make the country club fantastic and bring it back to its amazing glory, and if we can make other institutions fantastic again. I'm involved in the Sharks, which is also across the road here in this precinct, and we're working hard to bring them back to their former glory. This is great news for Durban, and so it'll bring people. It'll bring tourists, it'll bring people who want to become members, who want to visit us and play our fabulous golf course, and it'll bring events to Durban. And we haven't had the SA Open here for a long time, and we need it to be back here. And I think that if we can continue to do what we're doing, and if the Sunshine Tour can see their way clear to bring it here, it'll be a dream come true.